Right now, thousands of California gun owners are sitting at home, not knowing whether they're about to get a knock on their door from law enforcement. And the worst part, they didn't do anything wrong. They followed a court ruling. They trusted the system, and the system turned around and stabbed them in the back. I'm going to break down exactly what happened, why it happened, and most importantly, what you need to do right now if you're one of the people caught in this mess. Because this isn't just a California story. This is a warning for every single gun owner in America. Welcome back to Firearms Law Advisor. I'm your host, and this channel exists for one reason only: to make sure you never get blindsided by gun laws, court rulings, or government tricks that the mainstream media will never explain to you properly. And before we go any further, I want to say something real quick. We are a small channel. Right now, we have around 500 active subscribers, and our goal is to reach 2,000. If you believe that gun owners deserve clear, honest, and accurate legal information, please hit that subscribe button right now. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps us keep this channel alive. Every subscriber matters to us, every single one. Now let's get into this. To understand the trap, you first have to understand what people thought they were celebrating. On July 24th, a 3-judge federal panel ruled that California's ammunition background check law was unconstitutional. And look, on paper, that sounds like a massive win. Gun owners across California were relieved. Online ammunition retailers started advertising that California was open again. Orders started flooding in. Thousands of people, completely reasonably, thought the law was dead and they could finally purchase ammunition without going through the state's background check system. But here is where the legal reality gets complicated, and this is the part that almost nobody explained clearly. A court ruling and an enforceable court order are two completely different things. When a panel issues a decision, that decision does not automatically become law overnight. There is a procedural step called issuing a mandate. The mandate is the official document that makes the ruling legally binding and enforceable. Without the mandate, the original law technically remains in effect, even if a court has called it unconstitutional. Think of it this way. Imagine a judge declares you not guilty in a courtroom. Everyone cheers. But if the paperwork hasn't been processed and filed yet, you're technically still under arrest on paper. That's the situation California gun owners found themselves in last week, and most of them had absolutely no idea. 4 days after that ruling, on July 28th, California's Department of Justice issued what's called Advisory 166, and this document is the smoking gun of this entire situation. The advisory stated clearly that none of the required procedural steps had been completed to make the court's ruling officially enforceable. It reminded dealers, sellers, and buyers that California's ammunition background check laws remain in full effect and must continue to be followed until further notice. Now pay attention to those two words, until further notice. There's no deadline, no timeline, no date circled on a calendar, just a vague, open-ended warning that hangs over everyone like a dark cloud. Here's why that matters legally. Under California Penal Code Section 30,370, purchasing ammunition without going through the proper background check system is a violation that can result in fines of up to $1,000 and potential jail time. And the state of California has paper records of every single transaction that happened between July 24th and July 28th. Credit card records, shipping labels, online order histories, they have all of it. So what California essentially did was allow people to believe the law was gone, watch them make purchases, collect all the evidence of those purchases, and then release Advisory 166 saying, actually, you all may have just committed a crime. Whether that was deliberate strategy or bureaucratic negligence is something lawyers can argue about, but the result is the same. Thousands of innocent people are now in legal uncertainty through no real fault of their own. Now let's talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough: the responsibility of the companies involved. Within hours of the July 24th ruling, major retailers, including large national chains, immediately began accepting and processing California orders. Some reports suggest thousands of orders per hour were being fulfilled at peak times over that weekend. Estimates put the total value of ammunition shipped to California addresses in that 5-day window somewhere between $15 and $20 million. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many of these retailers have full legal departments. They have compliance teams. They have lawyers whose entire job is to understand exactly these kinds of situations. And those legal teams should have known, or at minimum, should have investigated, whether a mandate had been issued before resuming California shipments. Instead, the sales went through, and then, quietly, after the DOJ advisory dropped, those same companies stopped shipping to California again. No mass email to customers explaining the situation, no guidance, no warnings, just a sudden halt and silence. Now, I'm not saying every company acted in bad faith. Some genuinely may not have understood the mandate requirement, but the effect on customers is the same regardless of intent. The customer placed an order believing it was legal, received the product, and is now potentially holding evidence of a violation, while the company already has their money and has moved on. This is a lesson that extends far beyond California. When a court ruling comes down on a politically charged topic, especially one involving firearms, do not assume that the ruling is immediately enforceable. Wait for legal confirmation. Talk to someone who understands the procedural requirements in your state, and be extremely cautious about relying on a retailer's willingness to ship as confirmation that something is legal. Retailers are not your lawyers. To really understand what's happening here, you have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture of how California has operated on gun rights for the past decade. California's ammunition background check system was introduced in 2019. Since then, the state has processed over 42 million individual ammunition transactions, collecting fees on every single one. That's generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue. It has also resulted in over 180,000 rejected purchases, people who legally owned firearms but were denied the ability to buy ammunition. In Los Angeles County alone, approximately 15,000 ammunition background checks are processed every single week. This is not a small operation. This is a fully built bureaucratic infrastructure with employees, revenue streams, and political support. When a court ruling threatens that infrastructure, the state has enormous institutional motivation to delay, appeal, and find procedural workarounds to keep the system running for as long as possible. And they've done exactly that. The ammunition background check law has now been ruled unconstitutional by 2 separate federal courts. And yet, as of right now, the system is still running. Enforcement is still happening. California continues to collect fees and reject purchases. This is a deliberate legal strategy. Pass laws you believe will survive constitutional challenge. Defend them aggressively. Continue enforcement during the appeals process. And if you lose at one level, immediately appeal to the next level, because every day of delay is another day the system operates, generates revenue, and limits access for gun owners. The Ninth Circuit, which covers California, has one of the longest records in the country when it comes to reversing Second Amendment victories on appeal, and California has already signaled it intends to push this case further. That could mean years, not weeks, before any final resolution. Now here's why I'm covering this, even if you don't live in California. The strategy California is using, passing aggressive gun restrictions, defending them through years of litigation, continuing enforcement during that process, and using procedural tools to delay the effect of unfavorable rulings, is being studied and replicated by other states right now. New York, New Jersey, Illinois, Maryland, and several other states have all passed or are considering legislation modeled on California's approach to ammunition controls and firearm restrictions. The specific laws vary, but the underlying strategy is the same. Make it as legally complicated and financially exhausting as possible for gun owners to exercise their rights. This means that if you live in any of these states, you need to be paying close attention to not just what the laws say, but where each law is in the legal process. A court ruling in your favor does not mean the law is gone. It means the fight has moved to the next stage. And until you see a mandate issued and enforcement officially suspended, you should assume the law is still in effect. This is exactly why channels like this one exist. Not to tell you what to think politically, but to explain the legal mechanics clearly, so you can make informed decisions and protect yourself. If you purchased ammunition that was shipped directly to a California address between July 24th and July 28th, here is what I recommend doing immediately. First, document everything. Pull together your receipts, order confirmation emails, shipping notifications, and any communication you received from the retailer. Keep all of it organized in one place. If you are ever questioned about the purchase, having a complete paper trail showing exactly what you bought, when, from whom, and under what circumstances will be critical. Second, do not panic. Thousands of people are in this same situation. Mass prosecution of ordinary gun owners over a legally ambiguous 5-day window would be an enormous political and legal undertaking. That doesn't mean there's zero risk, but it's important to keep perspective. Third, if you have genuine concerns about your specific situation, especially if you purchased a large quantity or if you have any prior legal history that might complicate things, consult with a firearms attorney who is licensed in California. A brief consultation can give you real clarity about your personal risk level and what, if anything, you should do proactively. Fourth, going forward, make it a habit to verify the legal status of any court ruling before changing your behavior based on it. A ruling is not a mandate. A mandate is not always immediate, and retailer behavior is not a substitute for legal advice. And fifth, stay informed. Subscribe to channels and sources that explain these legal developments clearly and accurately, because the gap between what the headlines say and what the law actually requires can be the difference between exercising your rights confidently and accidentally putting yourself in legal jeopardy. This situation in California is not an isolated incident. It is a preview of the legal landscape that gun owners across America are going to be navigating for the foreseeable future. Courts will rule, states will appeal, laws will be in limbo, and in that limbo, regular people can get caught. My job on this channel is to make sure you understand what's actually happening. Not just the headline, not just the outrage, but the actual legal mechanics so you can protect yourself and your rights. If this video gave you clarity on a situation that the media was either ignoring or sensationalizing, please do one thing for me. Hit the subscribe button. We are a small channel. We currently have around 500 subscribers, and we are working hard to reach 2,000. Every person who subscribes is someone who will get this kind of analysis the next time a ruling drops, the next time a law changes, the next time a state tries to pull something like this. This channel grows one informed gun owner at a time, and if you found value here today, share this video with someone who needs to see it. A friend in California, a gun owner in your state, anyone who deserves to have this explained to them properly. Drop your state in the comments. Let me know if your state is using similar tactics, and if you have a specific legal question about gun laws in your area, leave it below. I read every comment, and I answer as many as I can, because that's what this community is built on. I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed, know your rights, and never stop fighting for them.